So we're going to start by watching this 2-minute video update on the fires in New Brunswick, Canada. See if you can notice the plasma fire indicators, and then we'll go back and take a little closer look at what they present.
There are 23 forest fires currently burning in New Brunswick, but the biggest remains just outside Miramichi at over 1,400 hectares. In an update from New Brunswick's Natural Resources Minister, many of the new fires are in the northern part of the province and are a result of lightning strikes back-to-back nights.
Those lightning strikes may hit the forest floor and smolder, and we may not see its evolution of it becoming a fire for a couple of days later.
No residents are currently on evacuation advisories, but the minister advises those living near fires to be prepared and stay indoors as much as possible due to poor air quality. While Crown lands remain closed to the public as a mitigation effort, some industries that work in the fields and forests will return to work under strict protocols.
We're doing this to minimize the economic impacts and support workers with the added precaution of enhanced fire equipment and site monitoring requirements.
There are 6 out-of-control fires at this time, but the minister says only 3 are of note, including Oldfield and the Irishtown fire just north of Moncton, which is contained and working towards being under control.
Now it's digging in the roots because the fire is still burning underground. So now we got to get all those, even if you don't see smoke, there's still fire. So now it's a lot of hard work left. So we're there till early next week for sure.
Over the past few days, Premier Susan Holt has visited firefighters on the ground and praises their efforts.
A lot of people worked a lot of hours away from their family in extreme heat and extremely challenging circumstances, but they protected New Brunswickers' lives and homes and our community, and I am deeply grateful for their work.
Work that is far from over in challenging conditions. Looking ahead to the weekend weather when it comes to the firefighting efforts, Todd.
So we're going to talk about underground subterranean fires, which is a repeating theme that they have acknowledged repeatedly over the last few years, and lightning. They're acknowledging the electricity component of it, but attributing it to lightning. And the other thing he says here is that the lightning could strike and that you don't even know there's an underground fire for a few days. So when people see fires popping up out of the ground, hey, there must have been a lightning strike within a few miles of here within the last few days, and it's just been burning underground. Notice also how nervous and uneasy this public relations officer for the fire department seems when he's trying to spit this shit out of the side of his neck.
And are a result of lightning strikes back-to-back nights.
Those lightning strikes may hit the forest floor and smolder, and we may not see its evolution of it becoming a fire for a couple of days later.
No residents are close.
We're doing this to minimize the economic impacts and support workers with the added precaution of enhanced fire equipment and site monitoring requirements.
There are 6 control.
Now it's digging in the roots because the fire is still burning underground. So now we got to get all those, even if you don't see smoke, there's still fire. So now it's a lot of hard work left. So we're there till early next week for sure.
Over the past.
So after I show you a few of the visuals that you might have missed in this 2-minute clip that also prove plasma fire, we're going to go back and show previous examples where they said that the fire is digging deep into the peat and that they have to dig it up in order to extinguish the fires. That sounds like what he almost says right here, but then he kind of switches it up a little bit, but essentially he's saying the same exact thing. These things are burning underground, so we have to dig them up in order to extinguish them. You will hear those words verbatim from another Canadian official last year here in a moment, but that's essentially what this guy is saying right now.
Now it's digging in the roots because the fire is still burning underground. So now we got to get all those, even if you don't see smoke, there's still fire. So now it's a lot of hard work left. So we're there till early next week for sure.
Days Premier.
So you heard him say, so it's burning in the roots, so we got to get all those, and then he changes his sentence and says something else. He doesn't finish that sentence. The end of that sentence would be, we've got to get all those roots that are burning underground dug up in order to extinguish them.
control.
Now it's digging in the roots because the fire's it's still burning underground. So now we got to get all those, even if you don't see smoke, there's still fire. So now it's a lot of hard work left. So we're there till early next week for sure.
So now we're going to cover some of the visuals that they breezed right past that you might not have noticed. Notice how this power line pole is 100% burnt up to right here, and then it just stops burning. Fire doesn't do that, and they showed about 3 different examples of this same phenomenon, and I've showed before how it tends to light these power lines or telephone poles on fire. And what I'm seeing here is a pattern that has appeared many a times in these plasma fires where like all the trees will be burnt up to the same level, like 20 foot high, and then it stops. Like the earth has an aura radiating up to a certain height, and the fire only goes up to that height and then stops. A real fire would not burn the bottom 90% of the power pole completely gone and then stop right there and not continue going. Let's look at a couple of the other examples of this same pattern, and then you can extrapolate that to imagine what it's like up there where all the power poles are demonstrating this same pattern. Here's another one. You can see that it too burned right up to that spot and then completely stopped. So that's 2 power lines that are completely tipped over because at the bottom they burned 100%. Here's another example, same thing. The portion of the power pole that we can see is completely unburned, but apparently the bottom of it has burnt enough that it fell over. And here's another example of the same thing. It looks like multiple power poles have burnt so badly at the bottom they fell over, yet the trees surrounding them aren't completely burnt, and the other indicator is in this area here, you see all the unburned foliage sticking up out of the scorched ground. This is a term that I've coined, ground scorch. Fire burning across the surface of the ground does not leave all those unburnt weeds sticking up out of the blackened ground. It would consume all of those unburnt weeds that you see sticking up out of the black ground. It is because the ground is electrified that it just scorches the ground, leaving the weeds remaining. But somehow it latches onto those power poles and burns them out completely to the point where they fall over. This is definitely plasma fire, demonstrating the patterns that have been repeated over and over and over. Here's one of the Canadian officials from last year saying the same exact thing about the fires burning underground. What you're about to hear, I believe, is a mayor in Canada saying that these fires are digging deep into the ground and that we have to dig them up to put them out.
What are some of the challenges that firefighters and emergency personnel are facing with these fires right now?
Yeah, what we're facing is our crews are exhausted. They've been working on this fire for 2 weeks. It is digging deep into the ground, into the peat, and the fire is very, very difficult to extinguish. So they have to dig it out to extinguish it. So we're looking for more ground. It is digging deep into the ground, into the peat, and the fire is very, very difficult to extinguish. So they have to dig it out to extinguish it. So we're looking for more ground.
Current images of the Lehigh Gap. This fire is burning out of control at this hour. Here's a local report from the area. I live on Timberline Road at the base of the mountain. I just spoke to the firefighters down at the trailhead to the state game lands. The guy said it's going to be burning for two more weeks. It's traveling through the root system below the surface, and fires are popping up everywhere. He said get a leaf blower, possible criminal charges, including felonies such as reckless endangerment. We know that most people mean well. Most people are watching the fires that they start. A fire has burned down into the ground, can resurface much later and in a different location than the original fire without your knowledge. It's also impossible to prevent that random Here in this clip, you're going to hear Canadian firefighters say that the trees are burning on the inside. Everything looks good, and then they go and feel the tree, and it's hot, and it's burning on the inside, and that's something they're not used to dealing with.
We're seeing the trees compromised in ways they normally aren't. Our crews are looking at these trees, they look sound, they look solid, and then they touch it, and it's hot, and so it's on fire on the inside. Those are things that we're not normally facing, and those are challenges that are really, really hard to manage.
Before residents can return home.
Seeing the trees compromised in ways they normally aren't. Our crews are looking at these trees, they look sound, they look solid, and then they touch it, and it's hot, and so it's on fire on the inside. Those are things that we're not normally facing, and those are challenges that are really, really hard to manage.
And so these are just a few examples that I've collected over the years showing that these fires burn underground, including underground zombie fires in Carolina, Michigan, Canada. 6 simultaneous fires appear in 10 seconds within 50 square feet. Electricity in the air, fire in the ground. Links will be in the description. Here's a small piece from one titled Subterranean Fires in Brazilian Rainforest Burns 10 times as much in 2024 as in 2023.
According to Marcio Yule from Brazil's Environment Ministry,
it's an area that's difficult to access with subterranean fires as well. These peat fires make combating them even harder.
The latest Yule from Brazil's Environment Ministry,
it's an area that's difficult to access with subterranean fires as well. These peat fires make combating them even harder.
The latest...
And this is in the Brazilian wetlands, like the Florida Everglades, like the least likely place to burn if it was regular fire, but because it's electric wildfire, has no problem burning through the wetlands. We'll watch a couple minutes of this. And I'll leave the links in the description for those who still need to catch up. For everyone else, this is just recap. Someone brought my attention to the fact that Brazil's wetlands are on fire, and I'm just going to show you a couple of quick videos, 1 minute each. This one's 1 minute 15 seconds. I'll let it roll through and then draw your attention to some of the things within it. First, notice the smoke is blowing to the left where the already burned area is, and the unburned area is on the right. If the fire was being driven by the wind, it would be going the same direction as the wind. In this image, you can clearly see the already burned the already burned area is on the left. The unburned area is on the right. The fire is moving to the right. It came from the left. The smoke is moving to the left. The fire is moving the opposite direction of the wind. This is something that I mentioned in my previous video, and I've mentioned many a times. The fire, and they show another example of it here in this video.
Wildfires in Brazil's Pantanal wetlands so far this year have surged nearly tenfold compared to 2023. According to local media on Tuesday, official satellite data showed a 980% increase in Pantanal fires through June 5th, compared to the same time the year before. The figures have raised alarm as peak wildfire season approaches. They're the highest levels seen since 2020. Weak rains since late last year have disrupted seasonal flooding, making the region more vulnerable to fires. And in the Pantanal, the world's largest tropical wetland, the terrain makes those fires difficult to fight. According to Marcio Yule from Brazil's Environment Ministry,
it's an area that's difficult to access with subterranean fires as well. These peat fires make combating them even harder.
The latest...
So we noticed the ground was on fire, like a volcano's erupting here. This is crazy. It's like steam coming up, ain't it, Amber?
It's like burnt potato.
Yeah, it's crazy. Look at this, coming right out of the ground. It's not just there, it's... Look, little places. I've never seen anything like this. It's like a volcano's about to erupt here.
Danger children, do not do this. Yeah. Oh, ew, ew. Smells weird.
We just happened to stop up here, and next thing we know, we looked over and it's like the hill's on fire. It's like, I need to go find out what this is. This is crazy. Look at this. It's like hot steam coming out of the ground. I've never seen anything like this.
I just sit through there.
Whoa. Amber. Volcano.
It's a volcano, or we will be dying.
No, folks, I really think this is an old logging place, and some of the mulch is catching on fire underneath the ground.
It's my dad's fault.
But this is really crazy. Never seen anything like this before.
We'll go into the evils of what happened to St. Louis in just 1 minute, but do you know in Brazil, the fire is coming from up under the ground? And I'm sure you're thinking it's like, you know, gas or whatever stuff. But Brazil's been on fire for a while now, and this whole field is burning from up under it. And for these farmers, this is not a normal occurrence in their area. It's a once in a lifetime, everything's burning from under the ground. And that made me start thinking of the spiritual severity of everything happening on the earth. Let me show you something.
And then we'll go back through a second time. Watch how quickly these spot fires pop up out of the ground, out of nowhere, within 10 seconds.
Spot!
So here, as you can see, as you're looking in that direction where those 6 fires popped up, 10 seconds, you can count 10 seconds from the time all those firefighters run past that area to the time where they look back and show you that there's 6 fires that have popped up right where they just walked.
Spot!
And there's almost zero wind. The smoke from all the fires is going pretty much straight up. There's almost no wind. And to imagine that 6 embers landed right there in that 10-second window and lit those 6 fires is more of a stretch of the imagination than to think of it as electricity coming up from in the ground. They had just...
What the hell is going on? That's a good question, brother. Look at this. What's going on? All the fucking mold what's right going on? That's okay. Yeah. I'm talking loud. What the hell is going on? That's a good question, brother. Look at this. What's going on? All the fucking mold what's right going on? That's okay. Yeah.